Thank you. This is your life, and the identity of the person on this book will very shortly be revealed because he is about to step through the door of this actual studio. Now, he thinks he's coming here to be interviewed by a television magazine program about his autobiography. And what a story it is. When he was just a little boy, he used to do clog dances in working men's clubs. And we have prepared a twinkle toes routine to greet him here this evening, rather like his big television shows used to have. So we're all set. He's on his way. It's time for me to disappear. Well, we've got a bigger audience than I thought. Yeah. What? That's not Lionel Blair, is it? What are you doing here? They've gone mad. Learn the words. What's up? What? Wait a minute, I'm getting suspicious. Wait, what's going on? Let's go. Oh. Good evening, Ernie. Nice to see you. And this magnificent chorus line, and all this, of course, is for me to say tonight, Ernie Wise, this is your life. Oh. Thanks for dressing up. For me. Thank you, Mike. Well, and as they say, without further ado, if your slender and smooth legs will carry you over here, I've got this book all about things what you have done.
I have done.
So, walk this way, sir. Well, thanks to those lissom young dancers who are Michael Barrett, Marion Montgomery, Marty Christian, Jilly Cooper, David Lodge, Gemma Craven, George Chisholm, June Whitfield, and Lionel Blair. And, of course, my collaborator in this devilish plot, your wife, Dori.
I never knew.
I'm sorry.
Sit down, Dori. Have a little rest.
Why wasn't there anything on my answering machine or anything?
There will be, don't worry. Well, now, Still on My Way to Hollywood is the title of your book, and it's a journey you began when you were only 7 years old, clog dancing for pennies in Yorkshire working men's clubs. That's you in your first stage outfit, all set to tread the boards with your first partner, your father, Harry. You were just 14 when you teamed up with another youngster, and together you went on to become comedy legends.
Hello, my little fat friend. Can't see the joint? That's one of the best you've ever had. That is a beauty. Arrived this morning all the way from Maxminster.
Why should we spend money on a show or two? No one plays those love scenes exactly like you. Exactly like you, you make me feel so bad. I wanna hand the world to you. You seem to understand. Each foolish little dream I'm dreaming keeps on dreaming. Now I know our mother taught me to be true. She meant me for someone exactly like you. Exactly like you.
Was there any phone calls for me while I was out?
Yeah, a fella from Hollywood.
Hollywood?
Director or something, Alfred something or other.
Hitchcock?
You might have, I didn't ask.
He wants a thriller from me.
Some hopes there, I'll tell you. What were you playing just then? The Greek piano concerto. But you're playing all the wrong notes. I'm playing all the right notes, but not necessarily in the right order.
All men are fools, and what makes them so is having beauty like what I have got.
You have a plan?
him, and then we need fear nothing he may
Please! He's a soldier of Rome. It is impossible to incriminate him.
do. Leave me alone with him.
Just as you say, Clint.
What do you think of it so far? Rubbish!
And Cleopatra obviously didn't get the needle because she is here again tonight. Glenda Jackson.
Oh,
Glenda, did you feel that might be a bit risky for a classical actress?
No, it was one of the wisest moves I ever made because I got a film called Touch of Class out of that, which got me an Oscar, and they sent me a telegram saying, "Stick with us, kid, and we'll win you a third." And then I got to play Cleopatra in Shakespeare's version, which was not nearly as good as the play what you wrote. So no, it was terrific.
Happy days. Thank you very much. Glenda Jackson. Well, it's nice to hear that it did Glenda a bit of good. This is what it did for me when I was your solo guest.
that's right, yeah.
Remember that? Someone else didn't fare too well either. Keep looking at that screen, you'll see he's resurfaced. Taking no chances tonight, he joins us from the set of his own show, Des O'Connor.
Hello, Ernie. Thames have asked me to apologise to you that they're doing the tribute from a studio, but the banks are closed. I personally am very sad that I can't be with you tonight because I'd hoped to surprise you as a singing telegram, and I know how much you would have enjoyed that. Because I know all those jokes that you and Eric used to make about my singing. You never meant them, did you, Ernie? Jokes like, "I've just played Des's new album, all 14 tracks. It was wonderful. Got rid of all the cockroaches and the gypsies parked half a mile down the road." But to be serious just for a minute, it's been a privilege working along with you and Eric. I feel honoured. So much so, Ernie, that I've parcelled up a few little things for you as a little gift. The new Des O'Connor video, some signed pictures from me to you, some of the albums. There'll be more on the way. I know you want them. And the I Love Des t-shirt. You'll look great going around the shots in that. Anyway, have a good night. Play the records when you're having your tea urn. Your tea urn! Oh, one last thing. The bill. Please send it to Des O'Connor Enterprises. Have a good night, Ern.
Thank you, Des O'Connor.
I think he's feeling insecure, isn't he, with all those products?
Slightly. But he didn't give him his dick-a-dum-dum, at least. That's something. Well, Ernie, this is your life, and you made your bow on November the 27th, 1925, first of 5 children of Harry and Connie Wiseman. Home was at East Ardsley, near Leeds, number 12 Station Terrace, appropriately enough, because your father was a railway porter. A piano your mother had learned on as a girl had pride of place in the parlour. Your father added a few shillings to his £2 a week with a song and dance act at a local working men's club. And he taught you a few dance steps, and you joined the act when you were only 7. Bit young for that moustache. You did a second spot in your little red clogs.
That's right. You went into your whirlwind clog dance.
Straight after singing, let's have a tiddly at the milk bar.
Kiddie club performers with you, Dorothy and Eddie Ward.
Good to see you.
Now, we've got some pictures of you here. Now, Eddie, you played saxophone and accordion, and Dorothy, you did a tap dance, and you also performed with Ernie on round the bay boat trips to Bridlington, right?
That's right.
You remember we went to Bridlington on the Yorkshireman,
On the Yorkshireman, yes.
did the act,
Yeah.
and the passengers passed round the hat, and one particular day we went to the shop and bought you your first pair of shoes, because before then you were wearing your clogs.
That's right.
Do you remember?
And you used to... What did you used to sing?
I've forgotten.
Oh.
It's your show.
Must have been a good number. Now, Dorothy, Ernie and his dad had a routine that always stole the concert, isn't that right?
Yes, they called it Little Pal.
Oh,
Do you
yes, I used to
remember?
sit on his knee, yes. I
Yeah,
used to
well, you know Dad is 87 now, so he couldn't travel here.
Yeah.
So we're hoping now that we're going back down memory lane and you're going to do Little Pal first.
I used to sit
Two
on his,
lines.
He used to sit on his knee and he used to sing Little Pal, if Daddy goes away. Da 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 da. And then my little bit was, if someday I should be on a new daddy's knee, don't forget about me, little pal. That was it.
Oh, dear.
I can still remember the lyrics.
No, thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you, Eddie and Dorothy Ward. Thank you very much. Well, in the autumn of 1938, London impresario Brian Mickey heads north seeking talent for a new juvenile revue. You audition at the Leeds Empire with your quick-fire clog dance and a song knee-deep in daisies.
That's right.
But it looks as though your chance of stardom is pushing up the daisies as weeks turn to months and still no word.
No.
Then, in the Christmas mail, a marvellous present, a letter from Santa himself. In fact, it's from legendary bandleader and impresario Jack Hilton. January the 7th, 1939, you head for London for the first time. Jack Hilton takes one look at your act and puts you in the show that very night. You were just 12 and a half.
And Jack Hilton billed you as the new Mickey Rooney.
Now, he was lead trombone player in the Jack Hilton Band and later Fleet Street show business columnist Jack Bentley.
Yes. Jack.
Now, Jack Hilton became quite a father figure to Ernie, didn't he?
Yes, that's the way it went. I remember Ernie used to have digs over an Italian restaurant, and being a lad strictly from the butty land up north, he didn't quite go for this kind of menu.
Yeah, that's right.
And neither did Jack Hilton.
No.
But Jack, the famous, wealthy Jack, used to have sent down from his place up in Bolton masses of tripe shitlings.
That's right. He used to have on a chair and we used to eat it between us.
That's right.
And he had a pork pie as well.
That's right. You say, come on, lad.
That's right. True.
And that's the way it went. Anyway, the boys in the band thought, well, this lad's got that little something extra. He's going to go places. And sure enough, here he is.
Yes.
Thank you, Jack Bentley.
Wow.
Well, compared with what you and your father made, you were on Hollywood money, £6 a week.
That's right.
And our big brother never failed to send money home.
Yes, you will always be known as Ernie the Provider.
The younger members of the family, Sister Annie and Brother Gordon.
That's right. Annie and Gordon. Well, I wonder.
Slight family resemblance there, isn't there?
Do you think so? Yeah, he's got a bit more weight than me, hasn't he?
Oh, well, we might discuss that later. No. Annie, despite stories about him still holding on to those pennies, he was pretty supportive.
Yes, Michael. I teach physically handicapped children in Richard Cloudesley School in London, and the most rewarding job. And this became possible in the first place because then Ernie came home one day and said, how would you like to go to Leeds College of Music to learn the piano? And that was going to cost 3 guineas a term, which was a lot of money in those days. This I did, which in turn led to teacher training. I was able to then go on to teach and do what I'm doing now. We all benefited from little earns, good little earning that he did in the beginning.
Well, there he is with the two of you here. And Gordon, you're a sales manager now, but you'd agree with Annie, of course.
Yes, of course I would. What I would like to say is that we have the kindest, most considerate, generous, caring, and protective brother that anyone could wish for. I should have said big brother. But there was one time when he wasn't quite so caring and protective, and that was at East Ardsley when I was about 7. He managed to get hold of Dad's air gun. And I don't think he knew it was loaded, at least I hope he didn't. And he managed to shoot me in the leg.
That's right, yes.
And I was jumping up and down with blood oozing through my sock, saying, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And Ernie only said one word, and he told me to limp.
I was just trying it out, I remember.
He was all hard there. But only recently, Ernie, there was a family reunion without the air gun when your younger sister visited you from Australia.
Yes.
Tonight we visit her in Melbourne, your sister, Constance.
Hi, Ernie. I bet you didn't think you were going to see me so soon after leaving England. remember when we were in, when we lived in Railway Terrace, I remember a lot, but of course you weren't really around then. You were off doing your bit with Father. But I remember when you were in the Merchant Navy, and you used to come home and you used to bring all this food for Mother, because of course everything was on ration. And you used to bring me big bars of chocolate and corned beef and goodness knows what. But if you had a green ration book, your mother could get bananas for you. I hope you have a great night, lots of fun, and I'll be thinking of you. Bye.
Thank you, Constance. Have a nice summer. Now, the spring of 1939 was a major milestone in your young life. You're watching another batch of young hopefuls audition in Manchester, and that's when you first set eyes on your future partner, a certain Eric Morecambe. He looked like this, and sang a number called I'm Not All There, and you looked like this. And you've been there some time, of course. You didn't actually meet until 6 months later at the Swansea Empire, both on the same bill in Youth Takes a Bow. Yeah. And fate, aided by Eric's mum, Sadie, took a hand. It was she who saw a future for the two 14-year-olds as a double act. That's right, isn't it? Right. Now, two of you got a year's contract as stand-in comics at the Prince of Wales Theatre, but the new aspiring double act has to double as chorus boys. Did you ever get to do your act?
Yes, we did. We were understudies for Alec Pleon, and if he was ill, we went on, and he was the healthiest comedian I've ever known. He was never ill. But I think one night we managed to do the double act, and that was about all. But we were always waiting in the wings, ready, in case he collapsed. But he never did.
Well, at least you were in demand with the government because you were called up. You went into the Merchant Navy. It has been said as Hitler's secret weapon, you were a cook. 2 years later, back in Civvy Street, you decided to pick up your career as a solo performer. You head for London. And there, in the bustle of the West End, who should you bump into but Eric and his mum, Sadie. They invite you to share their digs, and what is more, Sadie gets you work. There you are, on the bill of Lord John Sanger's Circus and Variety at the recreation ground Byfleet. Yeah. Now, I can't help noticing your bill not merely as England's Mickey Rooney, but as the star comedian of the forces.
Yes.
Was it your cooking that did that?
No, I was playing the comedian there. Eric was actually playing the straight man, which is quite... Because my billing was always better because I got those thick, heavy letters, you know. His was always thin like that.
Like the legs?
Like
yes.
the legs, yes.
Now, also on the bill, we see Our Lovelies, the Four Flashes.
Yes.
Now, Dori, you were 15 and one of the flashes. Whatever it was being flashed, was it love at first sight?
No, it wasn't. I couldn't stand him.
No, she didn't like
I thought he was old and he was pushy.
Well, with the two of you playing different theatres up and down the country in the early 50s, it couldn't have been easy fixing a date, could it?
No, it wasn't. We sort of had coffee at Preston when the trains passed, or we would have a kiss at Crewe.
You should have seen what happened in Manchester.
It sounds like Brief Encounter. You do look a bit like the young Trevor Howard. Now, one Monday morning in June 1952, Eric and yourselves were at a band call at the Empire, Edinburgh.
And I was there as a last-minute replacement for one of the acts.
Then Joan Bartlett, she soon became Joan Morecambe.
We must stop reading it. Lovely to see you.
So, Joan, what happened then?
Well, I was introduced to Eric there and then. And for the rest of the week, he took me out. And by the end of the year, we were married. So, however, he often used to say that there should have been a plaque placed in front of the stage of the Empire Theatre saying, Eric Morecambe fell here. But no, we had a marvellous, successful double act. And we've had two very happy marriages, so we have a lot to be thankful for.
Thank you, Joan Morecambe. Well, with you married to a former walloper, as chorus girls are known, I believe, it's not surprising you were keen on dance routines in your later hit television shows. Here is one that made news.
A report on the economy has just come through from number 11 Downing Street. The Chancellor's statement reads as follows. There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance.
Let's face the music and dance!
have sent you, and they meant you just for...
Hey, you're adorable. B, but you're beautiful. C, you're the beautiful of charm. Hey, you're adorable. B, but you're beautiful. F, you're a feather in my G, you look good to me. Hey, you're adorable. B, but you're beautiful. C, you're a cutie full of charm. It's fun to wander through the alphabet with you.
But what are we gonna do about him?
Who, me?
Yes.
Hey, you're adorable. B, but you're beautiful. C, you're a cutie full of charm. J, you're like Jack and Jill. Hey, you're so kissable. Hey, you're adorable. C, wander through the alphabet with you.
But what are we gonna do about him?
Hey, ooh.
And she has legged it here tonight, Angela Rippon.
Angela. You're the one who's got me.
I suppose that was a bit image-shattering at the time, was it, Angela?
Well, I suppose it was. I mean, up until then, everyone had thought that I sat behind that desk and I didn't actually have any legs at all, that they used to roll me around on casters. But the thing is, of course, that if you were invited to be on the Christmas show with Eric and Ern, I mean, it was the most prestigious show of the year. It was a great compliment. And, of course, I always actually think as well that Christmas these days is really not Christmas without Eric and Ern and the Morecambe and Wise show. And it's absolutely true that when those programmes are shown on television now, they're watched by people in their millions. People still talk to me a great deal about them, and the thing that I love about what they say is that they talk about you two guys with such affection, and I think that's the greatest compliment of all.
Thank you. Angela Rippon. Well, those days of national adulation that Angela mentioned were a far cry from your first television appearance, and I do mean cry, because critics did their best to make you weep. So it was not so much back to the drawing board as back to the boards in Variety, Panto and Summer Seasons, with the occasional television appearance. You're a hit on Sunday night at the London Palladium and on the Alma Cogan show.
Tell me that you're an expert on judo.
Well, I do a bit, you know.
Well, could you give us a general idea about judo?
Oh, well, with judo, you've got to have, there's different degrees.
Different degrees.
But you've got to have belts for it.
Oh, belts?
Yes, there's a white belt,
Yes.
the yellow belt, the brown belt, the blue belt, the green belt, the orange belt, and the black belt.
And which one have you got?
I've got the black belt.
What for?
Keep your trousers up.
And you were in with more than a fighting chance when you were teamed up with Sid Green and Dick Hills for a series of your own. Now, guests on the show are two old friends of yours from your days in Variety. These days, they're your neighbours at your holiday home in Florida. And we're going now to Fort Lauderdale to join Teddy Johnson and Pearl Carr.
Greetings from Florida, and congratulations, Ernie, on this special tribute. It's something which you so richly deserve.
And we've been friends of yours for over 35 years, and we wish we were in London with you tonight.
Right, but actually being here on holiday now has worked out very well because it has enabled us to get together with some of your other dear friends who live in this corner of the United States of America.
Hi, Ernie. Hello, Doreen. What a lovely surprise. We wish you all our love. Bye-bye, darlings. Bye-bye, my love.
Now.
We'll send the royalties on the book, Ern. We'll send them to you.
Thanks to Teddy Johnson and Pearl Carr and your Florida neighbours. Now, Ted and Jackie Hockridge, you became neighbours at Ernie and Doreen's first home in Peterborough, didn't you?
That's right. We were, it was 25 years ago, we were doing pantomime at the Palace Theatre in Manchester. And halfway through the season, Ernie suggested, and Doreen suggested that Jackie and I should come back and have a pleasant weekend with them in their home in Peterborough. Well, I'll tell you, within 12 hours, they had talked us into buying the house next door. That man should have been a real estate agent.
Thank you very much. Well, Ernie, it's hard to believe now that the dispute in 1968 over continuing your ATV series in black and white or switching to colour led to everyone seeing red. A furious row is how you describe it. Enter the BBC. Producer John Ammons introduced you to writer Eddie Braben. Eddie thought up the idea of the plays what you wrote for star guests. So for 8 years, an aerial view would have witnessed the entire British nation glued to their TV set for shows like this.
happy Christmas to you and goodwill to all men except two.
Well, he's always had a lot of bottle. The Grand Inquisitor himself, Sir Robin Day.
Robin Day. Sir Robin.
I don't have to kiss him, do I?
Well, it's not in the contract. It's up to
No.
you, really. Now, what brings a man of your distinction to our humble tribute to Ernie?
Well, I'm an extinct volcano, as you know, and it was the... Thank you very much. It was the zenith of my career when I appeared on the Morecambe and Wise show with Ernie at the Christmas show in 1975.
Why did you agree to do it?
Oh, well, because I've always had a secret ambition to be a song and dance music hall comedian, rather like the man whom Ernie modelled himself on, Des O'Connor.
Oh, yes. But did you know anything about Ernie Wise?
Oh, very little indeed. I knew that he had written plays, such as The Importance of Being Earnest.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Eddie Braben would have charged a lot for that one.
He probably will, actually.
My appearance on their show in Christmas 1975 was the beginning of their success.
Yes.
After I had appeared, they could get anybody.
You did, yeah.
They could get Angela Rippon, Glenda Jackson, anybody wanted.
Yes.
We thank you, Sir Robin Day.
Sir Robin.
For small wonder, Ernie, in 1976, the once-billed Little Wonder of the Yorkshire Working Men's Clubs is awarded an OBE. There you are with Doreen and your proud mum, Connie, setting off for Buckingham Palace, which is quite a few stops from Station Terrace, East Ardsley. Well, Ernie, I can think of only one occasion when you put the boot in on those Morecambe and Wise television shows. Who will ever forget this guest appearance? She obviously loved every minute of it, as all your guests do. She's in great demand throughout the world, but she would like a word with you, Shirley Bassey.
Ernie, how are you? You know, the great regret in my life is that I never did get the chance to see your wonderful legs in the flesh. Short, fat, hairy flesh. And I did give you the chance, silly boy. You may not remember, but I do. When I was invited to be your star guest on the Morecambe and Wise show, I asked you to join me in my suite at the Dorchester. Only to rehearse, of course, darling. But you turned me down. Scared of giving you all in rehearsal, I suppose. So instead, you invited me to rehearse at your usual place. The Ritz, the Savoy. No, some dump behind Wormwood Scrubs. Pity about the Dorchester. Could have been a fun rehearsal. Bye.
Thanks to Shirley Bassey. And that's why she wouldn't do Big Spender with you, I think.
There's still time to see my short, fat, hairy legs if she wants, you know.
Yes, the night is young. Now, another musical moment came the day when you looked beyond the world of show business and found yourselves in more cerebral company.
Like a day. Like a day. There are no drinks like a dame. And nothing thinks like a dame. And nothing acts like a dame.
And the other ever-youthful chorus boys there, Richard Whitmore, Richard Baker, Peter Woods and Philip Jenkinson. Ernie, back to real life. In the 70s, you and Eric flirted with films, The Intelligence Men, The Riviera Touch, not with complete success, but Philip Jones brings you here to Thames Television for a few more happy years. Then 5 years ago, during a guest appearance on stage at Tewkesbury, Eric collapsed and died of a heart attack. A 46-year partnership was at an end. The nation mourned with you. Determined to keep on working, you go on a 3-month one-man show tour of Australia. You go legit in The Mystery of Edwin Drood. You try farce in Run for Your Wife. And you go around the world in 80 hours to fund heart disease research. Somehow you manage to keep singing in the rain, as you did in this memorable sketch with Eric some years before.
Dancing in the rain. Just singing and dancing in
Have you seen what you've done for me? I went through. You! I went through her, that's not nice. I went through, folks.
just singing and dancing in the rain.
And I have a letter here from, in your words, the great man himself, Gene Kelly. Dear Ernie W., I'll never forget your great performance of Singing in the Rain. I thank you for that and send you all my best wishes, Gene K. So you might still make it to Hollywood when they do the remake. Meanwhile, let's savour the superb construction and the mesmeric dialogue of the very first of the plays what you wrote. Needless to say, it was your own interpretation of a classic, King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table.
I must ask you, Sir Eric, tell me about your doings.
Well, do I tell him or do I just get up and go?
What did His Majesty ask you? He wants to know about me doing.
What news of Carlisle?
They won 3-1.
Well, it's brilliant. It's brilliant how you mastered that medieval dialogue there, and that marvellous guest star you invited back and back and back again.
Excuse me, gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I did a show with you over 10 years ago, and I have never been paid.
Impossible, of course you've been paid.
No.
You haven't? You want the money?
Yes, please.
Will you take a check?
In cash.
Could you change a £20 note?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I had 2 tens.
Fine, that's fine. Now then, one'll do. Now you owe me one.
I don't understand.
Could you change a £20 note?
I just told you I had 2 tens.
Yes, well,
One'll do. Now you owe me one.
I still don't understand.
oh, dear old me. Ask me for £20.
Give me £20.
There's £20. How much have we asked for?
£20.
How much have we given you?
£20.
How much have you borrowed?
£20.
How much do you owe me?
£20.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What a charming bit.
And Ernie, to share your curtain call in Nothing in This Appearance Constitutes a Contract, Peter Cushing. Peter. Good to see you. Peter, at long last, the denouement is down to you.
Well, it was my dear wife. I happened to be working, for which I was paid.
And when I came home that night, she said, "I've seen the most wonderful couple on the television, and one is a most brilliant dancer," and it was this dear little Ernie. And imagine my delight when I was asked to appear in one of the plays what you wrote, even though I still would so much like to have that 20 quid.
Wait a minute. Can you change 20?
Yes?
Oh, you mean it? Yes, sure.
That's nice.
He's got the credit cards as well.
Oh, it's all there.
But what a life he's had, and what a play his life would make. And thank you, dear Ernie, for all the sunshine you've brought into our lives over many years. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ernie Wise, this is your life.
Thank you.
Yes, what a life indeed. This Is Your Life returns to its usual time of 7 o'clock next Wednesday on Central. Meanwhile, it's Boxing Day and there's still no sign of any peace and goodwill in the Duckworth household as we visit Coronation Street after the break.